Good evening. Happy Wednesday hump day to everyone. How are you? My name is Dustin. My buddy Jess is here with me. How are you doing tonight, buddy?
Uh,
But all internet issues aside, my friend.
Technology wise, I'm doing crappy, but good spirits. Everything's going well. Personally, I'm doing pretty good.
We'll make it work. We'll make it work. So you're having internet issues. Though it's not because of storms, it's because of your carrier and they're upgrading your system and all that stuff, and it's causing a lag. So if you drop off, I'll just keep talking. Cindy's here. Sean is here. Good evening, ladies. Thank you so much for joining us. Tonight, we are talking about living a low carbohydrate, keto, carnivore, whatever lifestyle, but doing so on a budget, whether you've got a family, you're living solo, whatever the case is. How do you live affordably? Because that's one of the main complaints that we get all the time is this lifestyle is not sustainable because it's expensive, which I would argue if you go in and fall for all of the so-called necessities, it is going to be expensive. Like when we started, we went out and we bought almond flour, coconut flour. We bought so much stuff and we spent hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars just to get started because we bought all the things that we were told we needed to have. But if you can avoid that pitfall, which I think we can discuss tonight, I think you can probably dial it in for your family, for your budget, and make it work. So basically, I'm probably going to give some tips and tricks. Hopefully nobody like Costco is watching the stream because I don't want them catching on to how I get lucky and get ribeye for the price of New York strip. So what's one thing that you have learned? We'll start with you, Jess. I'll put you on the spot. What's one thing that you've learned over the course of the last few years of your in and out of this lifestyle with keeping a budget? I don't know like what your financial situation is. I don't know how tight your budget needs to be sustainable for you. But what are some things that you do to maintain the budget that you need to keep?
Well, my wife and I frequent all three major membership stores. So we have a membership at Costco, we have a membership at Sam's Club, and we have a membership at BJ's. And I don't know if everyone is familiar with that, if they're around everywhere. And it's funny because we will find my wife really doesn't do keto like I do. She, obviously does her own thing, but even for the stuff and for our girls and buying everything and just to be cost conscious with everything, it seems like buying in bulk is a little bit better than doing your one-off type stuff. But what seems to work, for me and the stuff that I get is just buying in bulk and sitting. And I may have probably have said this before. I'm boring when it comes to keto because I buy a lot of the same stuff all the time. That's what is sustainable for me. So I kind of know what my budget, like what I'm working with, and what I kind of know each week every 1 to 2 weeks, how much I'm going to spend. It's what the problem is when I want to, like, I see something new and I want to try it. That's where I can, and others, and I can attest to this and kind of maybe speak on behalf of others. That's where it gets pricey. Like you see, because in the keto world, what bothers me the most is these companies come out with a product that you want to try, but you can't try just one of them. So you don't know if you're going to like it. You're going to spend a bunch of money up front and then it's really it's hit or miss. And I would say honestly, like, the companies have very good marketing teams because they market it so well that it's like you get the feeling or the notion that everyone is talking about this and everyone is saying how good it is, and then you get it. And I mean, I can say I'm picky, I'm not gonna lie, but it's nothing like these you see 60 million people saying how amazing it is, and you touch it to your lips and tongue, and it's like, I don't know what they're talking about. But you can't, that's why I liked like Keto Crate. And I think on one of the Sundays, or you guys were doing something and I had brought it up. Keto Crate to me is a good option because it allows you to pay. Yes, you can save $40 a month is, and I think it's even a little bit more than that right now, but you can pay that per month, but you get some things in there that you didn't have to buy 10 of them just to find out if you liked one or not.
Right.
Some options. Then, if you like it, then you can invest the money. And, like, it took me a long time to find tortillas that I really liked that were, keto. Now, the ones in the stores, like the Carb Balance, okay, I can get along with those all day long. But I've also found a company that I really like. Like, I tried, there's Mr. Tortilla or whatever.
Yeah, we've tried those once.
They've got a couple of products that I like. Like, they have taco shells and their chips I like. However, when it comes to their tortillas, I do not like them. So it's funny.
Yeah, they're like the little tiny, like little street taco size ones. They were good, but they had a weird texture. I didn't mind them though. I just think they were weird because you had to like order from Amazon.
You know what it was for me? They have like I don't know if it's the oil that they have like it's a texture like a, I don't want to say
waxy.
the words. Not, you got it. I was gonna say it's not slimy, but it's
a little waxy.
Yeah, and it put me off. But I found the company Hero Bread. I don't know if you've heard of Hero Bread.
I've heard of them, but I haven't tried them.
Their tortillas knock it out of the park for me. They're really that thin, like think of like a Chipotle or Qdoba type burrito wrap. They're the closest thing in consistency and where you can, they have that pliability, but they don't tear type thing. Like, you don't just do like this and then it splits right in half. You can actually have a little bit of, so you can pack it like a burrito, and then the taste is, it has that floury taste that your like, if your mind's looking for. But going back and really answering your question from the very beginning, we just really take into the account of buying things in bulk and using there's it's funny because there's options that I like Real Good Foods makes these. It's kind of like an enchilada, like a burrito type thing. And it's only sold it's sold at BJ's in bulk. So I will go and I'll buy those. And that's what I take. I take those to lunch at work like every day. And it's funny because the people will see me go to the microwave there at work every single day and make the same exact thing. I set my, the microwave to a minute. It's like a minute and 60 seconds. And that's as long as it needs to cook. And it's just funny because they see and they're like, "Oh, you're eating your burritos again? Oh, you're eating your burritos again?" And I'm like, "Sure. Eat what you like and like what like what you eat, So it's finding things. You said it and you nailed it at the very beginning. You can definitely do this and be cost conscious for what it is that you're doing. I think when I first started keto, I got so like involved in like what you were saying. Like you felt like you had to, oh, like you go to these websites and it says, this is the keto grocery list. And you go to the grocery store and you're buying oh, I need this. They tell me I need this. They tell me I need this, this, and this, only to get it home and honestly, never touch it. You know, never touch it, never use it, never, you know. I mean, over the course of doing this, you know, for the few, you know, like what, 4 years now, almost, yeah, 4.5 years. I've wasted so much stuff.
We too. We have too. But again, we were buying a lot of things, and we would buy a lot of things to make videos with. So we were doing, you know, because you can go through and look at a lot of content that we've put out where we're trying things on camera. Some of the things that we've tried no longer exist. But some things that I'm upset that don't exist anymore. There's some things that I'm like, yeah, that's fine. But for us, and I think if you look at it, we have memberships to Costco. We have an executive membership to Costco because it makes sense for us because we spend enough there to get a free membership each year.
Get an hour early too, don't you?
I don't know about that.
I
don't know. Maybe. I don't know. I'm never going that early. They don't even open until like 10 anyway. But so we have a membership to Costco. We have a regular membership to Sam's, but we paid on it for 2 years and didn't even realize we had it.
Yeah.
It was just auto regen or whatever. And I'm like, oh, and then Shander was asking, you know, we have a Sam's Club membership. I'm like, do we? It took me a while to figure out and find out I had to figure out which email it was under. And I finally got in there and I'm like, okay, I guess we do have one. So I went a couple of times. But basically, I do 99% of the shopping for us. And I've figured out for us what stores to buy things and what stores to avoid buying things from. For the most part. Sometimes you'll go ahead and just say, you know, I'm already here. I'll spend the extra, even though I know I can get it cheaper across the street, whatever, between shopping at Walmart, Kroger, Aldi, Costco. Those are the 4 main ones that I shop. I do have a Sam's Club membership. We do have a bunch of Meijers, but they're not really on the way for me anywhere. And Sam's is out of the way too. That's the problem with Sam's. It's out of the way. So it's just not any closer or not any farther away than like Costco is, but it's just a different direction. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I know that I like to get chicken. I'll buy chicken at Walmart unless it's on sale somewhere else. But typically, Walmart's going to have the best price on chicken. Steaks are not going to be cheaper at Walmart. I can get steaks typically cheaper at Costco. Sometimes I can get chicken cheaper at Costco. And really, like, you know, we do keep milk in the house for our granddaughter, but you can buy a gallon of milk here or there. Whether you're saving $1 a gallon here or there is not a huge game changer for us. But we try to buy things on sale, but I've just noticed recently, I mean, for the last year or so, there hasn't been the best sales. And I use Flip, FLIPP, for anybody in the chat that's not familiar with Flip. It's an app on your phone where you go and you put your zip code in, and then you pick the stores that are in your area that you like to shop, and then there's like a grocery tab. And then you can go ahead and just click on that. It shows you all of the circulars or the ad papers for each of those stores. So I will typically check those. I'll check Meijer. And I won't just show up at Meijer. I'll check Meijer first, or I'll check Fresh Time, which is owned by Meijer. or sometimes you Aldi doesn't have a great circular or ad or whatever, but Kroger has a great one. Walmart never really puts one out. Costco doesn't really show you the meat stuff. So with Costco, one thing I said, alluded to at the beginning is the other day I was there and I'm looking at the ribeye and I'm looking at the strip steaks, and mixed in with the ribeye were packages of ribeye that were marked strip. So I was able to score 3 packages. I could have bought more, but I mean, that was hundreds of dollars. But I got 3 packages of steaks for $2 off for $11 a pound for ribeye.
Huh.
Instead of the normal $13.99 or whatever, it's $13.49 or whatever they charge for them. So it was like $2 off.
Costco,
so I bought, yeah.
I was going to say Costco is probably the least favorite of the box stores that, and me, I think it's too chaotic there sometimes compared to the other ones. Plus, I don't like that they don't label their aisles where everything's at. So unless you shop there all the time, you kind of forget, or like you're trying to find something and it's out of place.
It relatively stays the same as far as their food stuff. Like, there's going to be an aisle that has all the baking stuff. It's going to have the baking powders and spices and seasonings and oils. There's going to be like a cereal aisle. There's going to be a coffee aisle. There's basically a couple. There's 2 different refrigeration sections, at least at ours. There's like the bougie cheese, and then there's the bulk cheese. There's like the lunch meats. There's like the bougie lunch meats. At least they have that separated. So for ours, if you do shop there on a regular basis, things do move in the aisle, but they don't move off the aisle. So basically for us, like, we know where everything's going to be in the aisle. We know what's going to be on that aisle, but not necessarily where it's at in the aisle. And then sometimes you were looking for something. We were buying, they would have MCT oil in these big containers, and I put a little bit of MCT oil in Chandra's coffee in the morning, and it was a good price. You can get it on sale for like $15 for this big giant bottle, and then you go one day and it's not there.
Yeah.
Or we go and we buy Liquid IV. They have the sugar free. They have the pack that has the lemon lime and the white peach. I like the white peach. Now you have, I don't know how. I've never really looked into Liquid IV and how clean it actually is. I haven't looked up like I have done with Element and know how much maltodextrin's in it. I haven't looked into it. I know that Chandra likes it. She takes those to work and she likes those. Those are electrolytes that she can stomach. So they're not too salty for her. So, we use all the brands basically in our house. But I know that I go to Costco and there'll be times where they have like $9 off a bag. So instead of $30 a bag, they're $21 a bag.
Yeah.
So then you usually buy 2 or 3 or 4 bags, depending on what you need. You just wait for those to be on sale. But you never buy Liquid IV at Walmart because they want $10 for 6 packets. That doesn't make any sense when I can spend $21 on sale at Costco and get 26 packets. So, I don't know. For me, it's just, I think it's better for me as I am a detail-oriented shopper and I remember prices. So I know how much things are relatively at each store. And I also have gone through and done my own like taste tests. Like I've got the frozen burger patties from just about every store you can think of, except for Kroger, because for whatever reason, their 2-pound package is the same price almost as the 3-pound package at Walmart. So that's not going to do. I'm not going to get a pound less. And I'm not a big, huge fan of Kroger burger. I'll buy it if it's on super sale, but I'm not a big fan of their burger. So I'm also willing, what do I spend a little extra on because I prefer it? Like, oddly enough, I enjoy the Walmart frozen patties the best. And then the next would be some of the sirloin ones or chuck ones from Costco, but they're more expensive. You're paying $26 for 6 pounds, $26 to $28 for 6 pounds at Costco, or $11 for 3 pounds at Walmart. So at the end of the day, it's not the end of the world if you were to go and buy 1 6-pound package for 26 versus 2 3 pounds for 22. It's only $4. But if you are really trying to watch your P's and Q's and you watch every penny counts. And I think also one thing that I'll say here is you have to be careful with places like Aldi, because Aldi is deceptively affordable. Or I should say deceptively unaffordable, because they'll have good prices, but you may not be getting a competitive price per serving, price per ounce, price per pound, if that makes sense. Like they'll have their packaging and it'll be like, say for cold cuts, say, you're buying cold cuts or whatever, they'll be $4 versus $6, but you maybe only be getting X number of ounces, might be 2 to 4 ounces less at Aldi than you'd be getting at Walmart or whatever. So those things you just kind of have to pay attention to. Not everybody does. Most people just kind of blindly throw stuff in the cart. And then with us, I think the issue comes into play is not only the cost, not only the cost per ounce, the store you're buying it from, the flavor, but then the ingredients matter as well. So that adds another level of complexity. I want to see. Let's see if we make sure I didn't miss any comments here, because I said to put, if you have tips or tricks on what you do for shopping, put tips at the beginning of it, and I'll kind of scroll through here and see what I can find.
I will say, you've mentioned, I can probably count on one hand the amount of times that I've been in an Aldi.
We've got 3 that are about the equal. We've got 3 equidistant from us. So they're like, we have 3 within 10 or 12 minutes from us. We've got 1 in Speedway from where I live. We've got 1 in Avon and 1 in Brownsburg. The Brownsburg one I typically go to because it's across the street from the later post office that we use. So we go to the post office every day, basically. So there's a post office right across the street. So I usually drop off our packages at the post office, cut across the street, and go to Aldi, because there are a few things that Aldi carries. That's another thing, like something that only that store carries that other stores don't. Like Aldi carries these little single serve cheeses in a bag for like $3 or like less than $4, and they have a habanero jack. I put 2 of those in Chandra's lunch every day she goes to work. She loves that cheese. So there's no other place that has that. So I go to Aldi specifically to buy that. And then there's a seasonal cheese she likes, and I'll go there. Right now is the season. So next time I go, I'll probably buy everything they have, because it is a seasonal thing. So, and then, at
the very beginning of my keto journey, I think Aldi was suggested, and I went to Aldi a few times, and I found myself that first, when you walk in, I can remember the first aisle going down, and I found myself buying like keto snacks more than like the keto, like actual, like real, like nourishing, like the foods, that you should, your meal. I was like, I seen the high key, and then they have like a clearance section, and it was, different types of this. And I know where we get into we can have a whole nother night and a topic on when something says keto on the packaging, is it really keto? But yeah, I found myself, but then there's other things that Aldi, had, like, I remember when there was the craze with I don't know if you experienced this, there was the craze with the the keto bread that they had. And it was like always sold out. No one could get it. And I remember, I think I fell out of love with trying to go to Aldi because I wanted to try that bread so bad. So I went to like 15 different Aldis that are around us, only to strike out like every time. So I think it was like, man, it's harder to get a loaf of bread than it is a PlayStation 5.
Well, yeah, especially at first. I actually had a friend in Chicago get me a loaf of the keto bread from Aldi because it was up in their neck of the woods, but it wasn't down here. So I would go in and ask. And then, oh, we don't even know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, so I ended up getting up and I had a loaf of it. It was okay. You can buy it almost all the time now. But for a while, they did have like their own Benton brand. Their branding is Benton. And they had like a Benton brand.
Like their signature brand, you mean? Like a signature brand?
Yeah. So like their store brand is Benton for a lot of things. And they had keto cookies, like little keto, like basically their version of high key cookies. They had a chocolate chip and like a snickerdoodle, and they were relatively clean and pretty cheap. So we would get those because, having something like that in the house from time to time is, it may keep you from hopping in the car and going to Dairy Queen. You know what I mean? It might just be the linchpin that keeps you home.
Yeah.
Instead of going out to eat or, you know what I mean? Like you can argue all day long whether or not you should or shouldn't do those things. But you said that would be another episode. And I totally agree. But as time has gone on, you have to pay attention because they change packaging. And then with packaging, usually change ingredients. And then now those cookies are no longer keto, but they're still labeled almond flour cookies. So they look like the same cookies, but now they're loaded with sugar and carbohydrates. So that's a thing I think you have to pay attention to is morphing ingredients. And that's a whole other episode as well. I think just keeping up on ingredients and even things you use all the time, you have to keep a mind of.
I just read an article. I'd have to see if I could find it. And it was, I think you might have touched on it too, where all of these, the names are changing for, they've approved the name changing of like different sugars.
Probably. Yeah. I was actually in the process of making a video. I was writing a script and getting things together for a video of they were changing the name of aspartame. And then I got to looking at it, and actually the approval by the FDA for the name change of aspartame happened in like 2007. So like I thought it was like, because somebody had posted on Facebook, they changed the name of aspartame, and I'm like, oh, that's huge news. And then I go and I'm like, they did that 12 years ago. No, it's like 15, 16 years ago, and you don't see it in products. It's still aspartame. It's on aspartame on sodas, aspartame, but it's usually sodas. It's not baked goods because aspartame doesn't hold up well to heat. So you can't bake with aspartame. It'll break down and become something you don't want to eat. So that's why it's good for sodas. It's good for beverages, but not for baking or cooking, and you don't really find it. Aspartame, I want to say, is equal. If you buy it in the stores, it's equal. The blue packet. But yeah, like, they're changing, and there's always a new name for something. They're always adding names for sugars and sweeteners, and so you always kind of have to keep up. But usually you can just type into Google top 100 list of sugars.
It's funny.
Yeah.
Growing up, I can remember my grandma telling me this is, years ago. I was probably 8 or 9. And I can remember her vividly saying, if you can't pronounce what's on the label, then you shouldn't eat it.
And that's one of those things where, like, I would tend to agree, but that is kind of a weird way to look at it because even a lot of the actual natural stuff in our stuff is hard to pronounce.
So,
ascorbic acid is just, vitamin C.
This is coming from a little 4 foot, all of 100,
Oh, yeah.
110-pound Italian woman that cooked pasta and lasagna, and so, I mean, she was always working with, she was always home, like everything was homemade with her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and that's just how she was,
I do have to talk. So, as Shauna said, talking about your FOMO, like the things you start seeing all the videos come out for new products. And, it's difficult, like you were saying, that it's difficult to find products like just to buy one, like especially like Quest. You had to buy a box of 4 cookies or a box of 4 bars or whatever. Now, I mean, they have recently, you can kind of go down to like at places like Kroger, if you have them in your area, have like a section typically where they're selling the one-off bars. So now it's a little easier. We'll buy them like that. But I mean, there's always a thing like I see something new come out and I'm like, ooh, I want to try that. I know that it's probably not going to be a good thing, but and I wanted to touch on Rick. Rick has the cheapest way to eat because he eats from the canal. It's ducks and iguanas. And then he cooks them on his wood-fired stove, which is also his van. So he eats basically for free, and he has a job, and somehow he's still poor. I don't understand. Like, if he doesn't have a mortgage or anything like that, and he lives out of his van, and he does contract work, and he does all this stuff. Like, I don't know. I don't know where all his money's going. I don't know if he's like.
I don't know. They say the richest people are the poorest people. So
that's true.
Yeah.
Cindy's got it right. 9 more days to KPO. Well, I think 8 more for me because I think I'll be there on Thursday. And I got a couple starred comments here. Cindy says tips, only buy meats when on sale. Keep browned ground beef handy. Can be used for so many different dishes. Yeah.
We used to, and I haven't done it in a few years, but we would get in on buying like a half a cow and then having it, when it went through the butcher in like 1 pound bags for ground beef. And that was like the cheapest way ever to, for meat.
Yeah. We have enough freezer space. We just need to clean out our freezers and actually make room. And then like buy like a whole cow worth of meat.
Yeah.
But we would just want the sirloin, or we would want the New York strips, the rib eyes, and then everything else would just be burger.
Yeah.
Just 200 pounds of burger. Evelyn says, I feel that meat prices at Aldi are comparable to the bulk pricing at membership stores. And I don't have to buy something so big that I won't fit in my refrigerator. And I don't really think that Costco, so Costco is a bulk store. But realistically, for the things that we buy, you go to Costco and you buy a package of steaks, it's 3 steaks or 4 steaks. That's not really bulk to somebody who eats a steak a day. That's 2 days worth of steak. If you and your spouse are going to eat a steak, you buy a package of 4 steaks, that's 2 days worth of meals. That's not bulk. And I know what Costco is a bulk store, and usually you're buying 3 pounds of meat here, 3 pounds of meat there, 4 or 5 pounds of meat. You can buy a cart full of meat. Like, their bacon, you can buy their Costco blue bacon, and it's 4 pounds at a time.
The other thing that happens in the keto world is you'll find a recipe. It will call for, and it's a learning process, but it will call for like preparing everything, and you go through and everything, and then now you have, let's say it serves 6 or whatever, and you eat your 2 servings or whatever, and now you still have all this food left over, and then I don't know. I've always been picky when it comes to like leftovers. There's like certain foods that I'll go back to, so it's like, and then it's like figuring out the equation of like dialing it down so that you're making just enough to like, to satisfy, as opposed to, it's just, it's a tough balance. I feel like in the keto world, for me, a lot of food ends up getting, wasted sometimes. And then I don't know if you have this problem or if anyone else in the chat has this problem. And my wife, she says it's a Jess problem, but it is. I'll go grocery shopping and I will buy stuff, and then it's not that food gets wasted. Food gets wasted because I forget what the heck I bought, and I'll go through whatever, and then I'll plan out my days here, and here, and forget that I also bought like lunch meat. So lunch meat is sitting in the drawer in the refrigerator, and I forgot to go to it because I'm planning out my days for other stuff, not incorporating. Like, she kind of harps on me like, you need to buy everything and then write everything down and then sit down at the table and kind of piece together all that, everything that was bought, and then figure out how you're going to incorporate it into your days. I don't know. I get stupid sometimes and feel like I've wasted money because I'll I bought a pound of lunch meat. I ate it once and forgot about it. And then when we're going to
stinky in the fridge.
Yeah. And then we go to do the whole, end of the week, clean out the refrigerator or whatever. And it's like, oh yeah, now I remember this. I bought bulk because you like heavy whipping cream, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, and I do too. And I bought a bunch of that, and then we were going to make something, and it called for heavy whipping cream, and looked at, I hadn't used heavy whipping cream in a while because I bought this other, creamer stuff, and was also, incorporating like Fairlife milk into my coffee in the morning just to try something different. And then we go to use the recipe called for heavy whipping cream, and the last one that we had in the fridge, it said it had expired almost a month prior. And I'm like, oh,
that's something that we never ever have a problem with, that because we go through so much heavy cream, and typically the heavy cream we buy, like say I can go today and probably buy heavy cream, and it's probably good through December. And we buy the 32-ounce containers because that's one thing I won't buy at Costco, because they're 2 containers. I mean, realistically, with what it's costing now, it's almost $6 for a 32-ounce container of Walmart heavy whipping cream. So that's $12. Where at Costco, if they have it, it's usually like almost $14. So it's $2 more. So it's basically $7 a 32-ounce, which there's the problem with it. But then the size of the container doesn't fit in our fridge right, the space that I've got. So I go and I buy 4 to 6 at a time and keep them. Then I'll just pull the older ones out, put the newer ones in, and then put the older ones in the front. But we've never had heavy whipping cream go bad just because we use it every single day. Even the same thing with like the Walmart sugar-free whipped cream. That has a shelf life till like next year. Now, one thing that I need to look at, and I'm going to agree with you here, is I'll buy lunch meat. I'll toss it in there. I'll buy like sausages or something like that. I'll buy jalapeno cheddar sausages if they have them at Costco. I'll buy 2 packages. That's 6 pounds. I'll toss them in the fridge. I'll look at the date. They're good for like 4 or 5 months. Cool. I'll forget about them. And then we'll just eat meat, hamburger, blah, 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 blah. And then I won't even touch the lunch meat. I'll forget to touch the sausages. Because usually the only time I'm eating that kind of stuff is like a Saturday when no one is here. And I just want to throw something in the air fryer, veg on the TV and watch a movie. And I don't have to cook. I don't have to do anything. I can just sit down, throw those in the air fryer, dip in mustard, watch the movie, and then chill. But I forget, like, so realistically, for me, if I could just not buy lunch meat for myself, I'd be way better off because I ended up feeding it to the cats. They love it. And they love string cheese for some weird reason.
How do you eat your string cheese?
Like a crazy person.
My kids make fun of me because I'll open up. I don't eat string. I don't peel it like string cheese. I'll just the string cheese sticks. I'll take the stick and then I'll just bite into it. Oh my God.
I'm the same way, but I massage it first. So when I do bite into it, like like kind of starts to come apart. So like it goes in like the crack. I don't know. I'm just like I said, like a crazy person. And sometimes I will peel it because the cats like it and I'll just toss it on the floor next to me and they'll eat that. But then they will eat like some of it, but then leave some, and I like step on it and it's crunchy because they're jerks. And look, then every time I open a new one, they're like right there, like, "What do you got?" Hey.
Going back to Aldi, I did notice like Aldi sometimes, at least the times that I remember going in there, they will have a lot of options for like meats and cheeses, like if and not like lunch meats, but like the cracker type, cracker size, meat and cheeses or charcuterie board. Is that shooter? How do you say it?
Charcuterie boards.
Yeah. That type
charcuterie or charcuterie boards.
Yeah. Thank you. And
it is dark here. I don't care.
Yeah. But that's like and that type of stuff is my go-to, like even at like the Costco's or Sam's Clubs or whatever. That Gioloso type, like it's like the Asiago cheese, and there's like 4 or 5 different cheeses in there, and it's just the squares. Because I've always been like, sometimes a piece of cheese is a treat in the keto world, as far as I'm concerned.
I'll tell you what, we were in Wisconsin last week for a wedding, and my brother-in-law had been up to Madison for something, and on his way back they stopped somewhere, and he bought these olives. They were garlic stuffed olives, and they were in like an Italian seasoning. Like they were like the liquid they were floating in was kind of normal, but it wasn't as salty, but it was like an Italian flavoring, and they were garlic stuffed. They were probably $10 a jar. Knowing for just a normal small jar, you know what I mean? Yeah. And they were so good. I kept going back for him, and he was like, if I'd known you're going to eat this many, I wouldn't have opened them. I mean, they're so good. You can't find that stuff at the grocery store, man. I'm like, ugh. I mean, I need to like maybe get a jar of regular olives, pop it open, toss some of that Flavor God garlic lover stuff in there or whatever, shake it up and let it sit for like a couple of days and then go back to them. But yeah.
Now, how in your keto lifestyle and how you do keto for yourself, how often are you doing a sandwich with keto bread or a keto tortilla of some sort, mixed in there? Is that a staple in your, keto world, or do you try to avoid it? Do you treat yourself every once in a while?
Sometimes. So for me, like sometimes I'll get just that hankering for, like I'll go and I'll get like a loaf of the actual like keto wheat bread, because they're getting like whatever the brand is now at Walmart. It used to be their whatever brand it was. It wasn't great value. It was a different brand, like their whatever market brand. And now they've changed their brand over to Good. And they have a keto wheat bread, and I'll get that, and I'll get some Eckrich bologna, So it's like double bad. But I'm like, sometimes I just want some bologna sandwiches and leave me alone. But like, I'll go through phases. Like sometimes the granddaughter will want bread. So I'll go and get keto bread and it'll sit up in the cabinet. She won't want it. And then I'll end up standing in the kitchen with the butter container open. Like, you know, I've got the little butter dish or whatever. And I'll just sit there and I'll just spread butter on the bread and eat it, and then spread butter on the bread and eat it. And I'll stand there and eat like 3 or 4 slices. So I really shouldn't keep keto bread in the house because it doesn't agree with me, but I love it. Because bread, regardless of what Rick says, is delicious.
I don't know if you or if anyone in the chat has had bread is one of my triggers, so I try to stay away from it, but and trying to find like keto alternatives to, like, I'm a bagel person too, and I bought Royal like I took a chance on Royal bagels. I don't know if you ever bought Royal.
I don't think I've seen those.
And I'm pretty impressed like with them or whatever, and they toast pretty well. I seen someone earlier in here put that they bought I can't remember who it was, but and you had them on your show. Why am I drawing a blank, Jess? Jesus. No, it wasn't Jesus that you had on your show, but it was,
that'd be weird.
It was the key. He always does the blood glucose stuff.
Oh, Steve,
yes, and he did the whole testing of the Royal bagels and stuff and how it affected his glucose. And I pay attention to that, but not like 100% or whatever. I still do I'll incorporate like a new food, and then I'll use the glucose monitor to kind of check to see just how it agreed with me or didn't agree with me. But the Royal bagels, they toast well. And that's like, I'm big on like making scrambled eggs, and then I either want like a bagel or toast to go with it. And then I'm also like, there's a lot of times where I miss the option of like having a soft taco or having like even regular hard shell tacos. So when I came across that Mr. Tortilla and they started making hard shell tacos, those things are very good as well. They're just tiny. They're a little bit too small for, you. So then you got to look at, oh, well, you feel like you need 3 or 4 of them just to satisfy. But then, you got to look at the calorie count and what it's doing and that type of thing, because I don't know. I guess everything in moderation, right?
That's what they say. I don't necessarily believe it.
That's what they say.
I think we can get into a whole plate spinning thing if we really want to get down to brass tacks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Start getting into this, that, and all that stuff. And so I want to talk about here. Let's see. Shauna says, it's just me, and I have a Sam's Club membership because up till now it's easier to get to. But I usually only get butter, eggs, macadamia nuts for the most part. Yeah, and I think like it just depends on what you're looking for in these stores. I think when it comes to meat, like chicken thighs, Sam's Club has bigger packages, in my opinion. So you're getting more in a bulk than with Sam's than you are Costco. but it's just depending on what you're looking for. I think there's some things that Sam has here. Sam's has like these Angus sliders. They look really good. Like, they're just like they're already pattied out for you and they're fresh. They're not frozen. Those look good, but they're usually like almost $5 a pound. But there's little things like that. And she says this month they are opening a Costco in Napa, so I may rethink my membership, but I don't have a lot of space for a lot of bulk. And I get that too. And I mean, like I said, I think there are some things in Costco that truly are bulk. You can buy the 50-pound bag of rice, or you can get a gallon of milk or 2 dozen eggs. But I mean, for the average household, 2 dozen eggs is bulk.
Yeah.
But for us, we buy 10 dozen at a time.
Yeah. It's crazy. I love eggs.
It's just all a matter. I mean, it's just Chandra and I, but then the girls here. Nobody else really eats here. My brother will come over and sometime and dig through the fridge for leftovers or hot dogs or whatever. He'll just throw something in the microwave while he's here.
Do you like hard-boiled?
They come and go. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. It's kind of like bacon. Sometimes, like this week, I've cooked bacon every day.
Yeah,
I made 3 pounds of bacon this week, Monday, Tuesday, today. Tomorrow, I don't know if I might wait till Sunday or Saturday to make another pound of bacon, because we can go 3 days and have bacon every day and then go 6 months and not have bacon until we decide, man, I really miss bacon. It's just one of those things where we typically have eggs every day. I go through phases where I want them fried over easy.
Yeah.
Or where I want them scrambled, like almost still raw in the middle type things. Just depends on me. But the granddaughter eats eggs every day. Chandra eats eggs every day. So eggs are something that we always buy, and it takes up a bulk of the room in our fridge, 10 dozen. But I use the 2 dozen. I buy them in the box, and then I put them in the 2 dozen plastic containers so they stack better and it's less invasive in my fridge. But then we also keep a lot of fruit in the fridge because the granddaughter likes her grapes and her, right now, nectarines are her thing right now. So I bought a box of nectarines at Costco the other day. She loves blueberries, but they have to be giant blueberries. She don't want those little ones. She won't eat them. She won't even touch them. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm real big on, like, I'll buy the bulk, like Eggland's Best hard-boiled eggs, because I like egg salad. I'm a big egg salad type, like, yeah, not for you. Yeah,
I don't like anything salad that's not green and leafy. Egg salad, tuna salad, fruit salad. I don't need it.
No chicken salad.
No, I mean, I'm one of the most un-keto people when it comes to mayo. I hate mayonnaise. That's like mayonnaise. They're like, how are you keto? You don't like mayo? I don't care. I don't like mayo. I know there's something else I'm missing, but yeah. And Jason says,
like peanut butter?
Peanut butter?
Yeah.
I go through phases where I like peanut butter, but typically peanut butter gives me heartburn. It gives me indigestion. Jason's Canadian. Don't hold that against him. He says, sometimes I think I'm lucky that we don't have all the keto products here in Canada. Less things for me to crave. That's a thing. And I mean, and then like certain things you can't even get shipped to you. Like, you can't even get keto chow sometimes because Canada has weird laws where things have to be in dual languages.
It's amazing too. Like the UK, you'll look at, like, I'm just throwing this out as an example. You look at the back of a box of Pop-Tarts, US version, and you look at the back of a box of Pop-Tarts for UK.
We can make a whole episode just going over products, the differences between Gatorade and cookies and cereal.
I mean, is it if they put that out here that no one would buy it and eat it because they're so used to what they've been giving us,
I think the problem is we value affordability over ingredients as a whole. because we have been conditioned to not even really look at ingredients. And I'm not talking about us and our niche. I'm not talking about us and our community. I'm talking about Americans as a whole, right?
Yeah.
We are conditioned to just go based on the front of the package, believe what the front of the package tells us, even though the front and the back of the package usually or rarely line up. Take sugar-free, literally sugar-free or zero sugar creamer, coffee creamer. Second ingredient is high fructose corn syrup. How is that legal? And I know it comes down to it's less than whatever per serving, so they can technically call it zero.
Yeah.
But that is flipping ridiculous.
Well, that's like the whole thing about when looking at looking at a nutrition label. There's some sort of like, I guess the US allows for I think it's like a 10% up or down from what
it's 20%.
It's 20%.
It's 20%. So if you're looking at your nutrition labels, the food inside the package can vary by 20%. So think about that for carb creep.
Yeah.
You could be counting your stuff and still be 20% off. Or and overindulge and be 40% off or some crazy thing like that. And Shauna says,
and then with eating those carbs, you're wondering, you step on the scale the next morning and you're, it's, for every carb you're holding on to, water weight. So
yeah,
it's a crazy world.
Shauna says she chooses ingredients over price, but I mean, it's just her. So that's a little easier. But if you take a family of 5, a family of 4, a family of 3, or you're in the grocery store and you see people with like these carts that are full of all this stuff, like even Shander was talking about last night on our Tuesday Live, her brother, when he was a kid, her mom would avoid at all possible like the processed foods because like foods with dyes or added like sugars and stuff would send him over the edge and he would be crazy, just bonkers, and I know that that's something that they're starting to notice now with like red dye 40 and all that stuff. And it's also one of those things where it's still taboo to harp about ingredients. Like you start talking about ingredients, people are like, it doesn't matter. Everything, like what you said earlier, everything in moderation. But no, that's the thing is there isn't moderation anymore. There's no way to have moderation. I can't moderate Oreos. I can't moderate chocolate chip cookie dough ice cream. I can't do that. I can't moderate French fries. I still have them from time to time because I'm a dum-dum. But I know me and I know I can't moderate, so I don't bring it into the house. If I'm going to have it, we have it out. I don't bring leftovers home because I know if it's in the house, it's going in my belly.
Yeah, I find myself, I'm pretty disciplined, but every once in a while, like the girls will have something, because, I would love for the whole household to be 100%, even if it were dirty keto, but, I let the girls be girls and I let them, both my wife and I, and they, like we were saying, everything in moderation. It's just, it's a very different world from, being a parent now. And then from growing up, I was presented with, here's what's on the table. And if you like it, you eat it. And if you don't, then you don't eat. And
I was the same way with me when I was a kid. Now, my mom was a little more forgiving, and my mom would take into account the things that my brother and I would like, and that's how she would sort of plan meals. But like the average meal when I was a kid was poverty central. We would have fish sticks and canned like I can't even tell you how many times we had this meal: fish sticks and canned carrots. And my mom had sugar to the carrots. And then I remember my grandma moved in with us, and she was like, it was like right at the height of the low fat craze, right? There'd be Snackwells in the house, the Devil's Food Snackwell cookies, and she would be making rice-a-roni. It's low fat. You can have as much as you want. So I'm like, just shoveling it in,
Or
eating bowl after bowl because it's low fat.
Or a whole box of Cheerios because it's got a nice little heart on there that says heart healthy, you know. And same in my household, it was, I'm the best of both worlds. Like my mom is 100% Irish, my dad 100% Sicilian. So it was, and my mom's maiden name is McDonald, and she really grew up like on a farm and cut the heads off of chickens and all that type of thing. So, my mom was, I would say 75% of the meals that we had involved some sort of, chicken, but not chicken breast, where the, fried chicken, put it in, an air fryer and that type of thing. So I had a lot of fried food and a lot of quick foods. There was a lot of times where, my dad worked a lot, so my mom would find kind of like the easy stuff to make, like for when my dad, would get home from work and stuff. So it was a lot quick meals. Quick meals normally, just in my mind, turn out to be not so healthy, when you're preparing something, quick and easy, and you're just, whether you're throwing something into the microwave or and that's how I grew up. That's how I ate. I mean, it's funny too, because like I'll have a conversation with my mom, and she'll, there was a period of time, I kind of shut the door on it, but there was a period of time where my mom was like, she felt responsible for a lot of my, my weight and where I was in my life with all, with all of my weight, like that she was a heavy contributor to, how I got to where I was. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, I try to say like, yes, there's a sense of like, you're a product of your environment, but as you grow older, you still have like, there's still ties to what you know from being a kid and in your childhood. But like, I didn't have like it wasn't like this, I had a very good loving home, childhood. I had friends, so it wasn't like there was this like dramatized, like, thing that like happened to me that like, basically made, the scale, like I mean, ever since the age of 6 and beyond that, I was what you would technically call, obese from that point on. So, but, with my mom, like saying, like blaming herself. I mean, as I got older, when you're old enough to make your own choices, yeah, you may hold on to what you've known your whole life and from the beginning, but I still made those, you got to a certain point where you're on your own, you're independent for yourself. You got to figure it out on your own. Well, I dipped to the same type of thing. It was what I know. I did a lot of like being a bachelor by myself before I got, married, had kids. Like, yeah, it was convenient for me to go to work, and on the way home from work, stopping off 3 times a week because I didn't want to cook for myself, stopping home, on the way home, whether it was fast food or, my go-to was a $5 hot and ready pizza, a bag of breadsticks to go along with it, and a 2-liter of Mountain Dew. And by the time I woke up the next morning, I had polished that. Every single bit of that food was gone. Now, and that's whether I sat in front of the TV and watched the TV and ate, but I would have 2 slices here, 4 and then go back. And then by the time the night was over, the whole thing of pizza was gone. And by golly, the breadsticks, were probably gone within the first 15 minutes. They, well, I take that back. I probably ate 2 breadsticks just on the drive home from the place to the house. But it's funny, going back and it's funny going back and listening to it's funny going back and thinking about everything that I've done leading up to where I've gotten to. And when you're looking at it from a different lens, or when you're trying to better yourself, you look at those types of things and situations a lot different than when you were in them. Like when you didn't give a rat's about it, but now that you do, and you really are trying to take care of yourself, and you look back and you're like, I can't believe I treated myself that way. I can't believe I did things that way. It's just something I reminisce a lot on, the old days, and not because I missed them, I guess I'll say. I think I reminisce on them more so to know that I'm beating that one thing that's, kind of beaten me for, most of my life. So.
Yeah, my camera's frozen. I don't know if you can still hear me. Hopefully you can.
We can hear you.
Perfect. So glad you can hear me. But yeah. Yeah, so just like one of those things, I was the same way. Hot and ready pizza. It was cheap food. It's easier just to go out and get it, and it's easy and it's comforting. There's a comfort level with fast food. So I mean, I was there all along. I mean, there was a time in my life where I was, and we could talk about this in depth in a different episode as well, but inadvertently, without even realizing it, intermittent fasting. I was eating at 8 o'clock at night because I work second shift. So my first meal of the day was 8 or 8:30. And then I was going in and having my dinner after getting home from work about 1 or 2 in the morning. And I was having, it wasn't low carb by any stretch of the imagination. I was having some garlic noodles and a soda or whatever for lunch. And then coming home and having boil and bag rice because it was easy. And then I was having baked tilapia with a lot of spicy stuff on it. So super spicy. Putting spicy stuff in the rice as I'm cooking it. So it was hot. And so I was doing that every night. I lost a good amount of weight. I was still a bigger guy, but working a warehouse job at the time. And intermittent fasting, unbeknownst to me, it was doing a 16-8. Because I'd stop eating at 1 or 2, and then I wouldn't eat again until 8 o'clock the next night. So 2 in the morning to 8, so, that goes a long way. And I was also in my early to mid 20s. So there's that too. But I want to touch on Shauna's comment here. She says, no Aldi where she lives. She lives in Napa. But they have 2 grocery outlets. That's something that we don't have. We don't have grocery outlets. And that's one thing I wish we did have is grocery outlet stores. And to me, the only thing that we have that's close to grocery outlets would be Big Lots. But I don't think that counts because I don't think that's.
I didn't even know Big Lots has groceries.
Well, they have Quest bars and snacky stuff and stuff. They don't have. I mean, I don't think they have a full refrigerated section, but I think a grocery outlet does. But I just want to touch on that. I wish we had grocery outlets because there's another guy that I've had on before that I follow on Twitter, and he talks about grocery outlets all the time. And Evelyn says, tips, real whole foods over packaged processed foods. You're going to get more out of it for sure And then but I think and I still need to make a video on, can you keto without cooking ever? Can you get by living a keto lifestyle without cooking, buying the already boiled eggs, buying, but I guess you got to decide what constitutes cooking. Does throwing something in the microwave count as cooking? Or would it be like kind of like the dirty version of raw vegan and eating like bologna, cold hot dogs, lunch meat, eating keto or carnivore or whatever in a situation, like only buying pre-cooked bacon? You know what I mean? I don't know how. I
can
just talk about it all.
Yeah, I can say yes to that, because I've gone periods of time where, it's if you want to call it processed, boxed, keto type foods. I mean, if you get lunch meat from the deli, do we classify that as still processed, or do we classify that as, I mean, I guess there's a fine line between it all or whatever. But I mean, I'll buy the already, like I was saying, with the Eggland's Best, hard boiled eggs. It's just a convenience of not having to, basically do it myself and then peel the eggs and all that. It's like I just want to wake up in the morning, have a couple of hard boiled eggs, and not think about, and sometimes I feel like we'll cook off eggs and then I won't eat them like I will out of, like the Eggland's Best, hard boiled eggs. Now we lost your audio if you're trying.
Well, you can't hear me?
We can now.
Okay. Yeah, I hadn't said anything.
Oh.
Yeah, I just kind of want to know, like, I kind of want to make, there's some videos like that I want to make. I just have a bunch of different ideas. Evan also says, tips when cooking for a family: make a meat, a veggie, a dessert that's all keto friendly. If another side is wanted, I will make something else that I won't partake in. If you're cooking for a family that had like a mixed family of keto, non-keto, whatever. Luckily for us, that's not the case. I mean, we make things for the girl, but typically she eats whatever we cook her. So, and she eats non-keto at home, but at our house she does. She also says, I used to buy and eat Rebel and Halo Top ice cream. It's actually cheaper to make a keto chow ice cream in my Ninja Creamy. After the initial investment, healthier and worth it. I agree. Also, the selections and the availability of the quote unquote keto ice cream selection at most stores is almost non-existent anymore. So it almost makes it a no-brainer for anyone out there to buy a Ninja Creamy and buy Keto Chow. Just for the fact that realistically, you're going to get basically any flavor you want. You can do your own mix-ins. I mean, a Ninja Creamy, you can get them on sale. Typically, I think we've seen them at Walmart for $130. We happen to get ours basically given to us for free. And then, Keto Chow, you can get it 21 servings for like $80 or whatever, depending on if you get a discount or whatever. I have all the links and stuff if you want to do that. If you want to buy a Ninja Creamy, do it through Amazon, and I get a little bit of kickback on that. But if you want to consider supporting the channel in any of those kind of ways, but I think it's almost like a no-brainer, because realistically, Halo Top, I mean, I don't even look at ice cream at the grocery stores anymore, unless I'm going to a grocery store I haven't been to in a while, just to kind of see what they've got. But they typically don't even carry anything at all. Confession from Shauna. Keto confessions after dark.
I seen this, and I tend to agree with this.
Well, it's like, she's like, yeah, she says that I would rather have a half a slice of sourdough bread rather than anything made to be keto, but not often. That's the thing is like, and I have this discussion with James from Ready Set Keto. You know, what's better, buying a box of something keto friendly and eating the whole box, or having just one serving of something that's not keto? And I think it really comes down to you.
Yeah.
You have to understand yourself, because if you are somebody who has, you like M&Ms, and a serving size is, for just argument's sake, 8 M&Ms. So you count out 8 M&Ms and you have your 8 M&Ms and you can go about your day and not even worry about having 10, 12, or the whole bag, then cool. But I know that if I buy something, whether it's a bag of M&Ms, I'm eating all of it. If I'm buying the box of keto treats, I'm eating all of it. I do have things that I can kind of put off. Like I got a couple boxes of keto cereal at Woodman's when I was up in Wisconsin, up in Waukesha, and it's like a big store that carries a lot of stuff that we don't have down here. So keto branded stuff that we don't have. So I got a couple different flavors of that I'll try over the next couple of weeks.
Like I struggle with that same thing with like cashews or like peanuts. If those are out and about, and I can't, it's like a serving to me is like a fistful, not just like
the ounce or whatever.
Yeah, I can't buy that stuff in a big bag or anything. Like if it's single serving bags, like at my work right now, there's this vending company, and they have, and I'm so thankful for them, because they'll only do like it's just a single serving bag. So it's like it's as soon as you're done with that bag, you had your roughly about 140 calories if you're going to use it as a snack or whatever. And it's like it's really 2 servings in one bag, but I can fit that in and get away with it without it causing too much trouble. But if I bought like a really bigger bag, like from the gas station or from the grocery store, and then open the bag, I find myself like continuing to go back to it, continuing to go back to it. There's something about that type of food that I can't. It's like chips. Chips for me, I can't just you can't just have one chip. And something in the mind too that I've always had a problem with ever since I was younger, even till this day, is kind of like it's hard for me to keep it's hard for me to keep like or ask for a box, or like I feel like I go to a restaurant and I paid for this meal, I have to finish what's on my plate. I cooked me a meal at home. I have to eat what's on. Like I've always this mind screw thing of the meal's not over until, and I don't know if that stems from like even like when I was a kid, like and my parents always saying, all right, you're not done until your plate is clean. You know what I mean? Or you got to make sure you eat. I don't know what it is, but like, and I feel sometimes it's like, I think I still struggle with the whatever that is that tells you that you're full. Oh, we lost him. You still there, Dustin? There he is.
There we go. All right. It'll probably log up again eventually, but I try to get it to where it would do what I needed to do. But yeah, so the Dash waffle makers are a lifesaver when it comes to breads, making breakfast sandwiches, hamburger buns, that kind of stuff. I think that's a huge thing. But what you said, and that's like kind of us growing up in the 80s, you just ate everything you were given. And my mom was a person that was very big on making sure we had enough to eat because we were poor. So she would rather overfeed us than underfeed us.
That's how my parents never said no. I wish they would have, but my parents never said no to my brother and I if we asked for seconds. In their mind, they felt we were still hungry if we were asking.
Well, yeah, and my mom would moderate some of the sweets because she didn't want us to eat it all in one night. She was one of those big people, we go to the grocery store, don't eat everything we just bought in one day, that kind of thing, And so she would moderate stuff like that. But then my brother and I, we would sit down, like, especially during the summertime, she would buy the Big K, this diet iced tea. And I figure like my brother and I would go through a 12-pack in a day. Just sit and just chug them.
Even in my household now, and even when I was younger, any pop that we buy, it does not last very long.
So for me, one thing that I'm trying to get myself in, I think once I get through KPL, once I get back from KPL, I'm going to finish out the year because I've been unhappy with myself and my own consistency. I wanted to be consistent starting months and months and months ago. I want to get myself back to a point where a majority of the time I'm like triple B and E or, like just burger and eggs. Because when I'm doing that, it is sustainable for me and I have a better ability to say no to things.
Yeah.
But like the last couple of weeks, like the last couple of months, it just seems like it's like there's always an excuse to do something like, oh, the fair, oh, the birthdays. I need to pick and choose which ones are truly important to celebrate. Like, because Shannon and I's birthday are within 19 days apart. So, like, am I going to celebrate her birthday or am I going to celebrate my birthday? Are we going to go out to dinner for her birthday? We're going to go out to dinner for my birthday. What are we going to, I'm only going to do one of those things instead of both. And then, like, the fair and things, and we usually go on vacation sometime in the summer. Or go, like, we were just in Wisconsin and we pretty much ate whatever we wanted while we were up there. And I felt like total trash. But I know it's kind of off topic, but, it's just one of those things like.
No, I can relate. I've had a bad couple weeks of the nibbles, I'll call it. Where I haven't been true and on my game. We went to the Monday night football game for the Lions here. And I get it. Like sometimes you just have to take like the plunge and like actually like treat yourself and like be okay with it at the end of the day. But, my wife and I got walking tacos. So, and she had Doritos and I had Tostita chips. So it was like having, nachos. And it's like, do I have to beat myself up about that left and right because I had that? No, and like in a couple weeks from now, my wife and I are going, on vacation. And it's like, I've already said to myself, like, I kind of said to myself, we're there for what, 4 days, 3 nights or three, I can't remember now. Anyway, I said to myself, one of those dinners, I'm gonna have like, and even like I'm not gonna make sure that every single thing on the plate is relative to the key. Like if I want to enjoy myself while I'm on my vacation, like I don't go on vacation all the time. I don't, it's my wife and I's anniversary and we're planning it around, that I want to enjoy that, with my wife. And if that means sharing a dessert with my wife, or, figuring out, like something, I see something on the menu that just speaks to me and says, man, I'd really like to try that. And it's not keto. I'm not going to beat myself up for wanting to try that. And I get into those modes a lot where, I want to I want to be part of the crowd, but I tear myself up about doing that. And it's like, if it became like a regular occurrence, like it has been in the past, where like, that's just, you're eating like shit every single day, and you'll know, my body's going to tell me when like this last couple weeks, I've not been, 100%, and I feel it. There's, it's like, I feel it. I feel it in, I think I had this conversation with you over Instagram. Like, I'm tired a lot. Like, my energy level is like gone down drastically. And it's like, just these little things. And it's like, man, what makes you feel good. So like, why avoid doing that on a consistent basis? Same thing like you're saying, like just being more consistent. And it is, man, it's about consistency. Consistency is key, especially like in the keto world, because it does not take much to deter all the hard work that that one's doing. But more, if you punch the clock with more good days than bad, then you're winning. And that's just how
what I mean. And I kind of figure if I'm above 90%, it's a win. But I mean, like the last few months, like we got hit with some kind of bug that was like 5 weeks of just, we weren't sick. It's not like we had the flu for 5 weeks, but there was like a lingering cough. And then there was a, I'm trying to see how to describe it. A fatigue, like a nonstop, couldn't shake it fatigue. Like we'd get up, we would do our morning routine, get the granddaughter fed, get her to school. We come home, we'd lay down and take a nap. Like naps were a daily occurrence, sometimes twice, because we just could not. It was bad. And finally, like it was impacting like me on a couple of different levels. Like I didn't have any desire anymore. If you understand what I'm saying, like I just didn't have any, like like no sexual desire. There's going to be a TMI or whatever, but I mean, you guys know me, but I didn't have it. It was just not there. And that was kind of a thing that I knew it wasn't there. And I'm like struggling with that. So it was like kind of a depression kind of setting in as well. Like, what if it doesn't come back? And I'm like, is it just because the kid is bringing us something from school? Or is it like, are we eating more trash than we think we are? Or is there something like, we got to like basically deconstruct everything, put it back together.
Yeah.
And see, and that's the good thing about this way of eating is we can do that. Are we doing, have we totally screwed our adrenals from having too much caffeine, or, what's the cause? And we can play around with that. Now you said you had a hard out at 10:30, and I think we're coming up just a little bit over that.
We can do another 10 minutes and I'll be okay.
Okay. All right. Because Evelyn says here, exercise restraint at the store, which since I'm the primary, and I notice this when I'm the primary person going to the store, Shander doesn't go to the grocery with me 99% of the time. When she does, we tend to go a little overboard. Or if I go to like a store I don't normally go to, like when I went to Woodman's, I bought a bunch of stuff that I wouldn't normally buy because I'm in a different place. It was almost like tourist shopping. Like if I was somewhere and they had like an outlet store. One of the things I was upset about when we were up in Wisconsin, we were at the Walmart that we went to stock up on stuff for the week. They had their 8-pound box of frozen burger patties for $20. If that was here, I would have filled our freezer to over full because they're $30. Well, I think they're $27 or $28 here.
Yeah.
But I think it was just like a random sell, and I'm like, $20 for 8 pounds? I mean, it used to be $20 for 10 pounds of regular ground beef. You know what I mean? Like, now that's like $37.
Yeah.
I would go in and buy 50 pounds of hamburger. And people are like, where's the cookout? And I'm like, what cookout? This is how we eat. But now, I mean, things are a lot different. I also want to touch Trish's here. Thanks for being here. Trish says, I shop sales. Unfortunately, I'm a sucker for sale. That me too. Like sometimes just because it's on sale, I will buy more of it.
Yeah.
Like if I go to a Kroger and they've got hot dogs on sale, I'll buy 10 pounds of hot dogs.
Guilty.
Yeah. Like it was on sale, so I bought this many.
I think they know what they're doing, and they
do
purposely.
Oh, they do. They do.
It's funny too because they also will target their own brand against the national competitor. Like like let's say go into Meijer, you'll see like even CVS does it too. Like right next to you save $2 by getting CVS Robitussin as opposed to the actual brand name Robitussin. And then you go into the grocery stores and they've got here's I'm trying to think of like a brand name. Here's ABC, but here's Meijer brand for or Walmart does the same thing with their branding.
Now, I found certain store brands like Walmart, some of Walmart's brands on certain items are cleaner, at least per their ingredients, than the national brand. Like, so if you're looking at least, and now I haven't double checked the ingredients in a while, but when I was buying them on the regular, the Walmart brand bratwursts, the Great Value bratwursts, were cleaner than the Johnsonville. Like Johnsonville would have maltodextrin on the label, but Walmart wouldn't. But you have to wonder, is it tucked inside of something else like a natural flavors?
Yeah, I also contribute it to like when I see stuff like that. Is Walmart putting that out in bigger bulk to their stores than the Johnsonville? Is the volume of what Johnsonville produces as opposed to what Walmart? Like sometimes I think Walmart is bigger than Johnsonville, and if Walmart is producing and making this, or they're not making as much. And this goes back to how we were saying, like the UK has different, ingredients than US food. I think there's this crap that we see in some of the foods that we eat to lower the cost of the production. And I wonder, like sometimes how Walmart incorporates that with what they do as well. Because as an example, and this is taking it away from food, but like even with like TVs, for an example, or like electronics, you may go on Amazon and Walmart still has the cheaper price. And I just think it's because Walmart bought it, and Walmart bought that in such a bulk type.
Well, Walmart also has a thing where, so if you go and you buy a Samsung from Walmart versus a Samsung from Best Buy, there's things you're probably not paying attention to. Like you're probably getting 2 less HDMI ports. You're probably getting 2 less this ports, or you're getting this functionality isn't at the, I mean, next to each other. They probably look like the same TV. They're probably even very close in serial, like in model numbers. But the ones that they're selling at Walmart for $100 less, you're getting 2 HDMI ports less. You know, things like that.
The other thing too is with Walmarts, the Walmart 2 miles to your left sells it for $1 more than the Walmart 2 miles to your south.
Sometimes. So one thing that I've noticed, especially towards the beginning of at the end of the before times, like when eggs first went crazy at first. So I used like 5 dozen eggs at Walmart used to be $3.12. So 5 dozen eggs in a box used to be $3.12. And then when egg prices started kind of going a little crazy, one of the Walmarts near us was selling them for $5 and something. Another one was selling for $8 and something. So I would go out of my way to buy the ones for $3 less. And now I've noticed that Walmart is a little more consistent because our Walmarts now are selling the 5 dozen eggs for $18.20. And I noticed that that's the same price at both of the ones that we go to, and it was the same price at the one we went into in Wisconsin. So I know that certain Walmart locations, they're not franchised necessarily, but they have kind of different owners, if that makes sense. And they can kind of set prices. And I know they do tweak them to some of like Walmarts are in less desirable areas, so to speak.
That's what I was going to get to. Yeah.
But even still, even usually the things that I'm buying, even if I go in, like usually the reason I don't go into one of those isn't because the prices are different or it's I don't like the neighborhood or whatever. It's typically because they do not have any live cashiers, and they have and then everybody's funneling through these self-checkouts no matter how much stuff they have, and it's just a bottleneck. And I've just left carts. I'd have a cart full of stuff. It was the same price as the other Walmart. It was just I happened to be on my way, and I'm like, I'm not waiting here for 45 minutes to scan my own stuff.
What bothers me is it's called self-checkout, right? But yet the thing dings, and then I feel like it's more time wasted. The thing dings, they got one person working the self-checkout, and that person has to come and swipe their badge for one reason or another and put some sort of code in for me to continue swiping my stuff. And so you took away the whole self-checkout experience for me.
Well, I never much liked it. Like our kids, they love it. Like our youngest, he's like, I don't understand why you wait in line. I mean, if I have, like, he goes through with like a can of energy drink and something else, candy bar, whatever it is, right? 2 things. I totally understand the self-checkout. If I've got a half a cart of stuff, I've got to lift it, scan it, bag it, put the bag back in the cart. I'm doing all this stuff. And I know that's basically what I'm doing with the belt and just putting but I mean, it's like, it's the principle to me. But with the main difference that drives me crazy between self-checkout, and I was way off topic, but self-checkout and going through a cashier is if something happens and I make a mistake and I don't scan something, they will prosecute you for theft. Like you just, I mean, and the possibilities there if you're not super, especially if you've got a lot of stuff that you're scanning, because typically something like when we would go Christmas shopping, sometimes we'd go to Walmart in the middle of the night when there was 24 hours still. And we'd have 2 carts full of stuff. Well, we did it one time because our daughter's graduation party, we just went late at night. Nobody was there. Right, cool. We'll just grab it. Nobody's going to be there. But then we had 2 carts full of all this stuff for her graduation party, and we had to go through self-checkout. It was a nightmare because and then like if you were to miss something and then they catch you, and then it's like, even though it's an obvious, like, if you scan 99% of the things and you miss something, then they can, well, we're going to prosecute you. There's no, oh, my bad, can I scan it and pay for it? I mean, it's not like, I understand if you're like somebody that they've caught doing it before or whatever, but like,
repeat
I
offender.
don't want that responsibility. I don't work there.
That's the
I know
same
that
thing.
sounds,
Like,
it sounds pompous. It sounds so pompous for me to be, I don't work at Walmart. And I mean, and the fact that I don't work there means that if I make a mistake with the self-checkout, they can prosecute me. I don't want that. I don't want to go to, like, there, Shannon was talking about this. There was a nurse posting on one of the nurse forums. She'd gone through and
let me ask you this question. You go, not even self-checkout. You go through the cashier's aisle, okay? And they scan everything, they go through, but you had water on the bottom of your cart. And they forgot to scan it, you forgot about it. You get out to your car. If you knowingly put that in to your car without going to, like, do you need to look at the receipt because you forgot about it? Do you put it into your car thinking they scanned it and when you paid, you know what I mean? And then you
it just
get
depends. I mean, it really just depends. Like,
it's,
do you have kids with you? Are they acting a fool? Have you had a really rough day? There's just so many factors that play into this stuff that it's asinine to me. So I'm just like, I try now. Luckily, I don't usually go late at night anymore unless it's a one-off. I just need like one thing.
like, even
I go through and I will wait in line so I don't have to deal with it.
like even your Costco stores and I think all your Walmarts, your Myers, your box stores, with this whole self-checkout craze that everyone does now, I do believe that they account for, I don't want to call it theft as much as I want to call it just people are dumb. I'm dumb.
I'm human.
Yeah.
The human factor. I think that there should be some discretion there, like with the human factor. Like, if you're a manager at Walmart and you see somebody didn't scan something, they've got two kids that are screaming, she's by herself or he's by himself or whatever, and they miss something, that's obviously, hey, cut them some slack. It's not like, I mean, like, if it's whatever it is,
like,
there used to be something about it. You know what I mean? Like,
I'll be honest with you, going to the Lions games for football, they have this, it's called Lions Loyal Member Marketplace, where if you're a season ticket holder, they have this specific section that you can go in and get like cheaper drinks and cheaper hot dogs and cheaper type, food and stuff. If you're there, like, they have it's called Power Hour. So you go through this and you have to be a Lions like season ticket holder to get into this part. There's nothing. It's nothing. The only exclusiveness for it is the fact that you don't have to wait in line like for other it's a little bit of an easier get to and get through the line type thing. So it's just a little bit of a perk. But they have a self-checkout thing there. However, the self-checkout is they have these cameras on a thing that you lay everything down. The camera takes the picture or whatever, processes what it has, and then displays on the screen, and you pay for it, and you go on. I noticed one time when I did it, and you're going so quick because the next person in line wants to get through or whatever, so you're not paying 100% attention to what's going on. Well, we had like chicken fingers, a couple of hot dogs, a couple of pops. My nephews were with us or whatever. I lay everything down. They got like Little Caesars pizza in a box or whatever, like slices or whatever. We laid everything down because they want you to lay it down all at the same time. Well, because I had the chicken tenders like this, and I put the hot dogs on top of the chicken tenders, it blocked the camera from seeing the chicken tenders and only got the 2 hot dogs that were sitting on top of it because it was in like a carton container. And then, I swiped my card to pay for everything. And, like when it's all said and done, you're like, you're doing the math. Like we're walking away, going back to our seats, and I'm doing the math in my head. And I'm like, this should have been more than what I actually paid. And I'm like, well, where was the, and you get a receipt. So, you have everything. And I'm looking at the receipt and I'm like, oh, they didn't. And it took me a minute to figure out the process, to figure out like what it was that actually, and I guess what I'm saying is I have to feel that they price their stuff in a way that they know they have to make up that margin of error somehow. Whether it's theft, whether it's someone pocketing something and doing it maliciously, or even for the simple the mistake that they're trying to use technology to make things work quicker and faster. But whether it's technology or whether it's human, involvement, there's got to be margin for error in that process.
Yeah.
Whether it's done like I said, whether it's done purposely, maliciously, whatever, but it's like I felt bad, and I felt like, well, should I, it's like you saying like you don't want to walk out of that store, because you forgot to scan something. Is that your fault, or is that the fault of there's not a defined process? Like you didn't do it purposely.
Well, it's like, Shannon and I were talking about this, and it's like, they don't train you how to use that machine.
No.
And I know that's kind of like one of those like arguments, like a monkey could probably do the machine, but it's like, a cashier gets trained on how to run a cash machine. You know what I mean? It's just, you can talk about this all day long. I don't know. It's just like, eventually we're going to get to the point where like the Amazon stores get to the point where, you just walk in and everything you pull off the shelf. It's like,
they have that. They have that at the Lions game too. You swipe your card, it charges your card. They have these different areas. They swipe your card. It charges the card an initial $5 fee. You walk through the little like market or whatever, and you pull the stuff or whatever. And as you walk out the door, then it sees somehow what you took out of the cooler or the concessions. If you grabbed a thing of popcorn and then you walk away, well, somehow it found, I don't know how it like attaches the card to the person to whatever, but I've done that a couple of times, and that's been more accurate than anything, else that I've done. When you do the self-checkout and you put the stuff down on the counter, it doesn't.
Now, do you do the scan and go at Sam's?
Yes, we do that all the time.
But at least with that, it gives me a tally of things that I've scanned. So I can, and it's not like I'm buying 100 things at Sam's Club. I'm usually buying between 10 and 12 things or something like that. And I can go, okay, 1, 2, 3, and I can count.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's easy for me, because my intention is not to steal.
No.
And that's one thing that drives me nuts. It's like, my intention is not to steal. Your intention should not be to automatically want to prosecute me. If there's a mistake made, it shouldn't be mistake prosecution. Like, my thing is like, my intent was not to steal from you. My intent was to buy everything that I think, to scan everything. If I make a mistake, it shouldn't be prosecution. But I know there's a price threshold or whatever. And, there was a thing where Shanda was talking about with this nurse, and she's like, I guess she didn't scan a package of diapers, and it was $40 some. And she'd spent over $200 some anyway. So it wasn't like she was like just whatever. She had screaming kids with her, you know what I mean? She's a nurse, she's worn thin. And then you get this, and now she may lose it, and she may go to jail She may lose her nursing license all over not scanning a package of diapers. That to me is very dystopian, and I would not like. That's something that just drives me crazy. And I know it's the exception, not the rule, probably, but it's a slippery slope where if you allow that kind of stuff to happen, it's going to continue to happen.
If they make a mistake, can I prosecute them? If they double charge me, what's my recourse? I can just ask for a refund for that amount.
Yeah.
It's just it's not. I don't know, man. Yeah, we can go on and have a whole different. It's just whatever. I appreciate everyone who came and joined us tonight for this, and as I've said before, I enjoy doing these and spending some time with Dustin here, and I'm looking forward to next month when I get to meet the man in person. So we'll
probably do this again after KPL, probably not the week. I know that when I get back from KPL, it's fall break for our granddaughter, so we may be able to do back-to-back weeks that week. I don't know. I know we're probably going to be doing some things in the evenings. We're probably going to the apple orchard. There's a thing at our art museum where there's like a pumpkin walk where you walk through and they've got thousands and thousands of real and fake pumpkins all lit up, and you walk through and it's kind of spooky. It's cool to walk through. So we'll be doing stuff like that. But we'll play it from here and we'll talk about this, and you'll see, and I'll try to get it up in enough time for everybody to be able to catch us here. I want to say thanks to Jess. I truly enjoy talking with you, and I think we have great conversations. We have great conversations. We have great conversations, and I think I'm looking forward to doing this again. I want to say thank you to all the members. We did go over tonight, but that's fine. I kind of figured we would anyway. Hopefully, you'll have your internet stuff worked out. I'll restart my computer a second time next time. And
I know I talked and complained about it, and it didn't really seem to. I think you had more problems than I had any problems.
Just my camera, but that's okay. But anyway, with that being said, thank you all so very much for being here, and we'll see you next time. Just be on the lookout for that. I did drop a video today about Element. The second video about Element that I have had to make. The first one I was defending Element. This one is a little bit different. So if you are curious about Element and the use of maltodextrin, check out the video. I truly appreciate it. I'll be back Sunday morning with my Sunday morning coffee. And then after that, we will be doing a Tuesday live. And then I'll be at KPL. I don't know if I'm doing live from KPL, but I'll be doing some video work and doing interviews at KPL. Try to do 5 to 10 minute interviews with as many people as I can, as long as my batteries hold up and, my mics and everything work and everything does what I want it to do. So with that being said, thank you all so very much. Again, thank you, Jess, for being here. If you want to stick around after this, we can talk for a minute. Lynn Danielson is here. Good to see you. They saw my Element video. Thank you so much, Lynn. I appreciate you for being here. And with that, that's it. Till next time. And we're out of here.